So this video did not turn out at all like I wanted. Had a lot of issues. Had to stop and buy some more parts, go buy bearings. So it's kind of very choppy. I'm trying to add in audio content during the video to explain what I'm doing, what I did wrong, how to fix it, etc. I'll also try to put information into the description. Alright guys, if you're watching this, I am going to grease the bearings on my 2004 let's get this camera right. 2004 Yamaha Grizzly 660. There's an interesting bearing design. You have to use a tool like this. Let's see if this will focus. Yeah, good enough. So basically, so you see the holes in there. The bearings are, you can't normal like a trailer bearing or a car bearing. There actually is a spot in the center of the bearing that the grease has to go into. So basically, the grease from the factory, and that's it. Unless you have this tool, and then for the Yamaha you have to take off the actual axle out of the bearing. There are other designs that are over the axle nut, the spindle, but on the Yamahas that's not an option, so at least not what I found. So if you find it, please post it up for everyone else, but from what I found you have to use the solid design, which requires removal of the axle. So I'm going to film this, hopefully help some of y'all out, and also help me out if I forget what I'm doing. Alright, so I have it over there on a jack stand. I'm doing this in the backyard underneath the overhang because it's kind of rain, and of course I have to get in trouble, go buy parts, whatever. And my garage is a disaster, so hopefully this all works. But I'm going to try to call out parts as I go. Probably stop and basic stuff like take off the wheels, right? Everyone knows how to do that. Now, these are 17 millimeter all the way around, so I'm going to start there. Already messed up. Didn't put my gloves on. I got anti-seize all over everything. So, note to self: put on rubber gloves first, then start taking stuff apart. Alright, wheels are off. Now I need to pry off cap. So there's the axle nut. Yamaha uses this style that is a crimp on there. Let's see. Yep. So what you can do is just pry it up to get it off. It'll punch it off. Or I've seen if you get a really big impact, it'll just unbend it as it breaks it off. Then a tip I read about, which I haven't ever tried, I will this time, is take off all four and put them on different tires, and that way it'll be at a different point, so you can choose a different part of the metal to pin it, to crimp it again, instead of having to buy new ones. What I did, I think on the front left, I had to replace the bearing many moons ago, and that one I just put blue Loctite back on because I had it, this totally broke off, so I couldn't recrimp it. Excuse me, and I didn't want to buy a new brake. I'm sorry, a new nut for the sat, so I blue Loctited it, and it's been fine since. So I think this is 27. Let me get the right size, and I will update the camera there. You can see. Yep. 27. Yep. Hopefully you can see that. 27. Let's see if I can just do it freehanding it, holding it and breaking it with the impact. You hear me grunting. I hurt my neck last night and back, so moving is fun, to say the least. Alright, reverse full power. Ah! Yep, so it's like what I've read. A big impact makes short work of these things. Do the rest. Okay, I will do the other sides. If anything is interesting, I will film, but basically 27mm impact, it busted it free. I'm going to get them all four off, And then, so what I read on this one is just take off the bottom. The right one. Yeah, I think it's just the bottom cross piece holes in the knuckle. I'm losing my words. And you can get it free enough where you just drive the axle back in there, get this free, put the bearing tool on the back side, and grease it without having to worry about taking off the rest. But again, I'll get the axle nuts off first, then come back on how to tackle this one. So that didn't work for me. I had to take off both the upper and lower ball joints and also disconnect the tie rod from the knuckle. You'll see in the end, or towards the end of the video, this is stuck on really well. So I used a Astro tool and removed the hub, and then I had to remove the knuckle. I took off the dust shield and then removed the knuckle to make the job a little bit easier. But so if yours is a little newer, fresher, cleaner, etc., you can try it. But I was able to get the lower bolt out of the ball joint and get it free pretty easily. But I still couldn't get it swinging enough where I don't think you'll be able to knock the axle shaft back in to get room. But if it worked for you, great. But it didn't for me. So one thing, it's 14 millimeters to pull off the lower ball joint. It's got a upside down. It's got a crappy little cotter pin. Alright, cotter pin. Both the bolt and the nut are 14 millimeters. There's only one washer. It was on the nut side. I don't know if that's supposed to be, or I'm missing one, or I bought this used. So I'm going to look that up before I put everything back together, as well as the torques. And I'll try to put the torque information in there. Right now the lower ball joint is free. I'm going to get some penetrating oil and a pry bar. See if I can get it free easily without having to go get a tool. I'm going to get a separator tool. But anyways, I'll get it working so I know how it works, proof of concept. Then I'll do the other side live so you guys can see how I did it. So I didn't do this part live because I had to go out and buy a ball joint separator. But on the front left, the hub and knuckle weren't stuck. But when I took them apart, though, the bearing shield and inner race were stuck on the axle shaft. So I didn't film that one. But again, I don't think you can get it to swing freely, so that's why it wasn't recorded. So a little update, this hub will not come off. I have it soaking with some seafoam penetrating oil, some deep creep over there. There you go. But that one tried to get off, so I moved on to the other one where that was working. And, well, there's your problem right there. There we go. So the hub came off easily, the knuckle did not, and you can see the inner seal of the axle of the bearing stayed on the axle, and there's that part. So I forgot how I got that off last time. They don't have the proper either OTC or Astro tools, but luckily there's a Kawasaki dealer near me. If you didn't know, these are Koyo, see it, Koyo. I can't see the part number. Let me see. Maybe it is focus. And another chance. Just like Delta Alpha Charlie 3055 Whiskey. Anyways, the same part Kawasaki has them, and they're so much cheaper than Yamaha. So a note, or a tip for y'all: go buy from Kawasaki. It's the same damn bearing. So I'm gonna go look at that, see what tools I have. I have to do a quick Amazon order, continue this tomorrow. But anyways, I'll be back. So here you can see I have an Astro tool on there. It is the Astro tool 78830 heavy duty hub and rotor puller kit. And you can see here where I have it positioned, the arrows point to where not to put it. I actually bent the hub. Excuse me. So turn the hub about 45 degrees, and you can put it where there is behind no metal to bend. So I had to fix that and unbend it. But anyways, this tool's on Amazon. It's about 127, and it uses a 7/8 inch bolt, but is a 1 1/4 nut and 1 1/4 bolt head. So the pneumatic tools, and I'll have video of me using it later. But this rear one was fun. I actually didn't get a video removing it, but I had to get the torch out to get it hot and finally remove it. And I had to do it for both pieces, not only on the hub, but also on the knuckle. Alright, so using the Astro 78830 to try to get this stuck spindle off, and then I'll work on the knuckle. It is super stuck. Impact, hammers, nothing has budged it. It's been soaking penetrating oil on and off. And this one, as you can see, came off super easy. I mean, it's just, you can see, unbelievably pulled off the nut and it popped right off. That one, on the other hand, is not budging. So, I'm going to set this up. Put a ratchet strap on it in case it comes flying off, doesn't hit me and do any damage, and we'll see what happens. So this kit uses an 1 1/4 inch, so I have 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4. Let's see what happens. Helps I have it the right way. Alright, let's try this again. So at this point I gave up on the back and switched over to the front. Watch the screw. You can see it's very slowly moving out the hub, and then later on I have the knuckle moved off that I don't have recorded. But this one I didn't do a whole lot of talking, but you can kind of get the idea what's going on here. That out basically is starting to come. This is very slowly. I can hear it slowly starting to creak. So I got that out with a lot of beating, which is sort of surprising is how well you can see. It's not that rusty. And the thin train oil got in there pretty good. But so now I'm working on to get the knuckle off of the axle. Sure, it's going to destroy the bearing, but whatever. I already got new bearings, and just in case. So I took these off, and this is basically a manual impact. There's plenty of videos on it. But instead of having to worry about these getting rusted and broken off, I just beat it already with the hammer and the manual impact. I'm going to pull these off, get this shield off, and then get this guy around there. Again, this is the Astro 78830 hub, rotor, spindle puller, etc. So I'll get it prepped and I'll start filming again. Alright, so I didn't get it on film, it didn't record, but basically I had to put the long arms on, I guess, and because it's pulling on all the, again, arms, I was, this way. I had to put it on these, so you can see if it helps. There we go. I had to put it on the. So I do a very poor job of describing this here, but basically the hub puller has two different types of arms. One has a more longer when it turns in, I guess, and the other one much shorter but longer reach length. If you Google it, you'll see the idea. But I had to switch them out so I can get it around the hub, around the knuckle proper, and not the wings, if you will, of the knuckle. These guys to pull out because they're thin, not the main body. I basically broke it free with the sledge first, just until enough till I got it where I can see the axle moving back. Then I put the oil, let it soak, and you can see it got in there pretty good. So the funny thing is, it's not that corroded, but again, it didn't come off. So the race and seal, I can't remember bearing parts, whatever, they're still stuck on. If you had a little bearing puller, it's kind of a lot of work for a little bitty thing, but you know, they're $50 at Harbor Freight, and they go, you know, on either side, and you screw against and pull it out. They work really well. I don't have one. The other one came off really easy with a little bit of a chisel. We're gonna hope this one does the same. The seal, and to get the race off, basically do the same thing. Just get it started, and it or what you can do is get a Dremel or a torch and cut them and nick them, and they break off because they're pretty brittle. I'm just going to be nice and gentle with this guy and get it going. It'll take way longer than it should. What else have I seen? Tricks. The Dremel, a torch. If you actually have the race puller, the bearing puller from, anyways, that works. But yeah, I'm just going to work on that and be gentle and get it off. Way longer than it should be, but I'm tired of spending tools on this guy, so I'm just going to get it off and we'll be right back. Alright, axle is totally off. So there's a spindle, and this is basically another Astro tool. I'll put the part number in the description. What we need is, this is the plate. There we go. This guy is the plate. It's supposed to go in here and fit, and it'll just go inside and push the bearing out. They don't make one small enough for the Grizzlies, and we need 1/7/8. That's why I have the old-fashioned trick of the ball. But what I'm going to hope is the spacer here is just going to catch the inside of the bearing, and if it's unless it's rusted really bad, it'll push it out. If it's rusted really bad, well, then it won't, and I'll have to use the ball. Basically, see the giant nut in the bottom. This cup is where the bearing drops into. It's again, it's 1.25 inch, so I'll put the same tools on it and beat it out here real quick. So at this point, I had skipped ahead and quit filming a lot of stuff. Kept running into problems, running into trouble. The tools weren't working as they intended. I had to use the ball trick to knock out the bearings. Just a lot of stuff that wasn't worth filming. So here I had the Astro tool to press the bearing in. And you'll be able to see here in a second, I actually have the plate upside down. So the plate is designed with an inner and outer diameter, if you will. It's kind of like a neck in it, I guess to say. So the neck is supposed to go inside the bearing to dead center it. And then the outside of the plate is supposed to fit inside the knuckle, spindle, hub, whatever the bearings go inside is going inside of. And that's designed, again, to just to dead center it perfectly and press it down. Excuse me. So I'm looking at the instructions. I had it upside down. Well, I had it designed. I had it the right way. It's supposed to work if you had the right size bearing, a knuckle, which we don't. So you'll see the video. I actually got very, very, very lucky. I had the little neck pressing on the inter race of the bearing. It didn't do any damage to it. Didn't knock it in, and that's because I'm hoping that not hoping, but I think it's because I cleaned up the inside of the knuckle. I used a Drundel and a little polishing wheel and got them nice and clean. And then I put a fair amount of anti-seize in there, so it didn't have any ill consequences, but I got lucky. The last two I didn't film, but I put the plate upside down and just went really slowly till it kind of centered itself and pressed them in, and that's the better way to do it on this design. So it'd be nice if we can get the proper plate for us. It'd be super, super simple, really good tool and help us out. But you know, not people complaining maybe, but they basically told me they designed it for vehicles and cars and trucks and not four-wheelers. Alright, so I have the bearing ready to go. I have the inside of the knuckle with anti-seize, so this thing should never stick again. And there's my bearing. I can put a description in the part number. Basically, it's a Koyo. Let's see if I can see it. Koyo Delta Alpha Charlie 3055 Whiskey. This is -3. My old ones don't say dash anything, so I don't know if it changed, it's a production difference or whatever. Anyways, this is the tool I'm using. The sun is horrible, so I apologize. It is a Astro tool. I'm missing part of it. I will get it. It's an Astro bearing press puller. Works great for cars. It doesn't have the right sizes for four-wheelers to pull it, but it does to press it in. So we'll give it a shot. I've been emailing them to try to see if they'll interested in making smaller parts. So far, they don't seem to be, but who knows? Even if people will complain and ask them about it, they will make a 1/7/8 so we need. So this is the smallest plate they make, which luckily fits just inside perfectly. So let's see, bearing nice and smooth. That should be easy. It was in pretty good. I cleaned all these out with the Dremel and polished them up a little bit, so it should be pretty good. Just in the spacer. Right back. Spacer. Alright, let's see what happens. I'm putting the impact wrench down a little bit just in case there's issues, but it should go in pretty smooth. I turn the power down a little bit for a minute. Maybe too much. Let's go to 3. Alright, 4 it is. basically, you stop when it quits going in. You saw it quit turning. So basically I'm going to check it, make sure the snap ring fits in, and it's good.